Greetings, Benjamin J. from BENZTRAINZ with another in the series. Well, still experimenting with lighting these plastic Marx cars. Now, lighting a plastic car is nothing like lighting a tin litho car. It's much more complex, unfortunately. Anyway, I've got those E-10 sockets, so I mounted two of them on this NYC Marx flat car. Has the button contactor on it, as you see. And I'm using aluminum, so it isn't heavy enough to really work that well. So I mounted an old wheel above it just to give it some weight. And try to hide all the wires. So I got the contactor wired to one socket, as you see, and then did all the wiring under the car. So I'm pulling ground directly off of the axle, and then I've got the sockets wired together. And going to be the first test to see how this is going to work. So as you see, it does work. Like I said, that aluminum contactor is really, really light. So it doesn't make a good constant contact with the rail. Anyway, just an experiment with these E-10 sockets. So let me bring a consist around. We'll put this on and see how it runs. Let's put it right there. So, put this on the rail. This thing weighs nothing. And that's one of the problems, of course, and that contactor is made of aluminum, so it has no weight of its own. Anyway, let's take this around and see how it runs. So, two E-10 sockets on a plastic car. As you see, it works. But that aluminum contactor just is not heavy enough. But it does work, as you see. So it's not perfect, but it works. That's the important part. Anyway, it's just an experiment. Continuing to light these plastic cars. Like I said, it's much more difficult to light a plastic car than it is to light a metal one, simply because of the lack of ground. In this case, I'm pulling ground through that rear axle and the two wheels. It works, but it's not as efficient as lighting a metal car. The thing to do, of course, would be to pull ground through both axles, which means running another wire. But I just wanted to do a quick experiment. I've got these E-10 sockets, so I thought I'd use them. Nice thing about this, of course, is you can just screw the bulbs in and out. So a plastic Marx car with two bulbs. And it works. So anyway, I just wanted to do a quick video to document this. As I said, it's much more difficult to light a plastic car, especially in this case. I've tried to make it as neat as possible. So I've just got one wire coming off the shaft for the contactor going to this socket. Then I have the two sockets wired together. And as you see, I'm pulling ground directly off of this axle. So I've wrapped the axle with wire and then soldered it. And because the wheels are actually rolling, you get intermittent contact. So the only way to increase the ground potential is to put a wire on the second axle. But it does work. And like I said, this aluminum contactor is really, really light. This car weighs nothing. I mean, it weighs nothing at all. And yet it works. So just a quick experiment. As you can see, I've got an old wheel, steel wheel, mounted above that contactor just to give it some weight. And it works, but it's far from perfect. But anyway, I just wanted to do a quick video for lighting plastic cars. Like I said, it's much more difficult, much more complex. But it works. And like I said, since I had these E-10 sockets, I thought I'd go ahead and do an experiment lighting one of these Marx flat cars. So it works. It's up and running. Far from perfect, but not bad for the first experiment. and of course fun to play with the whistle. So a Marx plastic car with two E-10 sockets mounted in unison, and it works using an aluminum button contactor. So with a heavier contactor, this would actually work quite well. Anyway, just an experiment. Like I said, I just wanted to document this. So I had those sockets, so I thought I would do a quick experiment and get them mounted on this flat car. So I just basically drilled 2 holes and got these epoxied in place, and then wired them together, pulling ground directly off of this axle, as you see. So, like I said, crude, but an interesting experiment. So just wanted to do a quick video. As always, if you have any questions, feel free to drop me an email. BENZTRAINZ@gmail.com. And as always, thank you for watching.